Life is full of uncertainties, challenges, and emotional turmoil, yet the wisdom of Stoicism offers a path to inner strength, resilience, and unshakable tranquility. The teachings of Epictetus remind us that we are not disturbed by external events, but by our interpretation of them. When we master our mindset, we become immune to the chaos of the world. Imagine standing in the midst of a storm, yet feeling completely at peace. This is the power of Stoicism. The first principle to embrace is understanding what is in our control and what is not. Most of our suffering comes from trying to control things that are simply beyond our reach: other people's opinions, the past, the future, or the inevitable twists of fate. Epictetus taught that the only thing truly in our control is our own mind, our choices, and our reactions. If we learn to direct our energy toward what we can influence, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses, then nothing external can disturb our inner peace. For example, if someone insults you, you have no power over their words, but you do have power over your reaction. Instead of letting their words harm you, you can choose to remain indifferent, understanding that their words are merely an opinion, not a reflection of reality. This leads to the second principle, detaching from external validation. Many people spend their lives seeking approval from others, fearing rejection, and feeling anxious about how they are perceived. But the Stoics remind us that true freedom comes from self-acceptance. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means letting go of the need to impress others and instead focusing on living in alignment with your values. A great example of this is Socrates, who was ridiculed and misunderstood by many yet remained steadfast in his pursuit of wisdom. When you stop craving external validation, you become immune to criticism and praise alike, realizing that your worth is not determined by others' opinions. The third principle is embracing hardship as a path to growth. The Stoics believe that adversity is not something to be feared, but an opportunity to develop strength. Just as a blacksmith tempers steel by exposing it to fire, we become stronger by facing challenges. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles are not barriers, but stepping stones to growth. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who found meaning even in the darkest conditions. He realized that although he could not change his external circumstances, he could control his inner response, and this gave him the strength to endure. This aligns with the fourth principle, mastering emotional control. Many people believe that emotions control them, but the Stoics teach that we have the power to govern our emotions. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Imagine someone cutting you off in traffic. You could choose to get angry, yell, and let it ruin your day, or you could remain calm and unbothered, recognizing that the event itself is neutral. It is your perception that gives it meaning. By practicing detachment from emotional impulses, you cultivate an unshakable mind. The fifth principle is living in the present moment. Many people spend their lives trapped in regret about the past or anxiety about the future, but the Stoics remind us that the only moment that truly exists is the present. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This means that most of our worries are self-created. If we focus on the present, accepting it fully without resistance, we eliminate unnecessary suffering. A simple practice to develop this mindset is to ask yourself, is this happening right now? If not, let it go. This leads to the sixth principle, accepting the impermanence of life. Everything we love, our possessions, relationships, even our own life, is temporary. Instead of fearing loss, the Stoics teach us to embrace impermanence and appreciate each moment fully. One powerful exercise is memento mori, which means remember you will die. This is not meant to be morbid, but a reminder to live fully. Imagine if you knew today was your last day. How would you act? Would you waste time on trivial worries, or would you cherish every moment? By keeping death in mind, you live with greater clarity and purpose. The seventh principle is finding strength in simplicity. Modern society encourages us to seek more money, more possessions, more status, but the Stoics believe that true happiness comes from simplicity. Seneca warned against the endless pursuit of wealth, reminding us that it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Happiness does not come from external things, but from inner contentment. A practical way to develop this is to practice voluntary discomfort, occasionally fasting, sleeping on the floor, or going without luxuries, to remind yourself that you can endure hardships. The eighth principle is choosing virtue over comfort. Many people prioritize short-term pleasure, but the Stoics believed that the highest goal in life is to live with virtue. This means acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and discipline. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom is not doing whatever you want, but having the discipline to do what is right. A great example of this is Cato, a Stoic who remained true to his principles even when it cost him his life. He refused to compromise his integrity for power or comfort. When faced with difficult choices, ask yourself, what would a virtuous person do? This leads to the ninth principle, transforming offense into strength. In life, we will all face criticism, insults, and opposition. Instead of being offended, the Stoics teach us to use these moments as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This means that no one can truly offend you unless you allow them to. If someone insults you, instead of reacting with anger, use it as an exercise in self-control. The final principle is taking action with purpose. Stoicism is not about passive acceptance, but about living with intentionality. Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Many people drift through life without direction, wasting time on distractions. The Stoics remind us to ask, am I living according to my purpose? Imagine a ship without a destination. It will be tossed by the waves, never reaching a meaningful place. But if you set a clear course and take consistent action, you move toward a fulfilling life. Every morning, remind yourself of your purpose and take deliberate steps toward it. By living these 10 principles, you cultivate an unbreakable mind, immune to the chaos of the world. No insult, hardship, or setback can disturb your inner peace because you understand that your strength comes from within. This is the essence of Stoicism, to build a mindset so strong that nothing can affect you unless you allow it to. These teachings are not abstract theories, but practical tools for everyday life. The more you apply them, the more you transform into someone who is calm in the face of adversity, disciplined in action, and wise in judgment. If you truly embody these principles, you become a force of nature, unshaken, unbothered, and free. In the grand scheme of life, the teachings of Stoicism offer us a path not just to survive, but to thrive. When we embrace these principles fully, we become unshakable forces of nature, untouched by the chaos of the world. Imagine living a life where no insult, setback, or hardship can break you, where you remain centered, disciplined, and clear-headed no matter what comes your way. This is the power of Stoicism. It is not about suppressing emotions or being indifferent to life. Rather, it is about cultivating a mindset so strong that nothing external can dictate your inner state. Every challenge you face becomes an opportunity to grow, every insult becomes a chance to practice patience, and every obstacle transforms into the way forward. You begin to see the world differently, not as something happening to you, but as something you navigate with wisdom and purpose. When you accept that the only thing within your control is your thoughts, actions, and responses, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. No longer will you be a slave to anger, anxiety, or the opinions of others. You will walk through life with an unshakable calm, understanding that true power lies in mastering yourself. The Stoic way is not about running from hardship, but about confronting it head-on and emerging stronger. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all faced immense difficulties, yet their wisdom has stood the test of time because they practiced what they preached. They did not merely talk about resilience, they lived it. Now, it is your turn. Will you allow external circumstances to dictate your peace, or will you take control of your mind and forge your own path? The answer lies in your daily actions. Practice these principles. Remind yourself every morning that you control your reactions, that hardship is a teacher, and that true strength comes from within. Train yourself to detach from things you cannot control, to embrace discomfort as a tool for growth, and to prioritize virtue over fleeting pleasures. Over time, you will notice a transformation. You will no longer react impulsively, you will remain calm under pressure, and you will find joy in the simplest of things. This is the essence of true freedom. A Stoic mind is not one that is emotionless, but one that is disciplined, aware, and intentional. You will still feel emotions, but they will no longer control you. You will still face challenges, but they will no longer break you. Instead, you will walk through life with a deep sense of peace, knowing that whatever happens, you have the power to endure and thrive. In the end, the greatest achievement is not wealth, status, or power, it is the mastery of your own mind. The Stoic path is a lifelong journey, but with every step you take, you move closer to becoming someone who is truly unshakable, unstoppable, and free. The question is, are you ready to take that first step?